This weekend, gents, we saw City win again. And then just Arsenal 2-0 up, 2 weeks running, not just winning, but maybe the best 30 minutes of football in both games that we've seen from Arsenal all year. I think all of us were tweeting and saying the same things at home or wherever we were watching it. Game's done. I saw people that have yesterday. I've seen people that have written off Arsenal all year say, "Tweet, I was wrong. They're going to win this title, aren't they?" For 2 weeks running, Dords, you've bottled it. You bottled the games. You've thrown the lead away. You had a nice gap between you and City of 8 points. That's now down to just 4 points. They have a game in hand over you. Their next game is against you at the Emirates. But talk to us, Dords, about what happened at Arsenal yesterday.
I think there's some complacency just creeping into the team now. It's like the players know that they're better than the opponents when it comes to style of football and the way we're playing. And then half an hour in, we play some of the most amazing football, dominating, creating chances. And then the players think that when I was watching the game, 2-0 up, I see Gabriel Jesus going into right back position, getting the ball, passing it about. Then he goes into the left back position. It's like, and then Arteta said in an interview, he said that after the 2-0, we're passing because of me, just for the sake of it. There was no intention of scoring a third and fourth goal. It's like we go into these games now, especially away, where we think we're 2-0 up and then there's no danger, the game's finished. We haven't got that killer mentality. And that's something I'm worried about compared to City. City end the game by half-time, and then they're able to take their best players off at half-time. Haaland went off after 45 minutes against Leicester City. The reason why Bukayo Saka, Odegaard, all these players play 90 minutes is because we don't end the game by half-time. We're only 2-0 up, and then we concede a goal before half-time. And Partey, I don't know what happened to him that first 45 minutes. It's like half an hour he's playing amazing. Him, Odegaard, Xhaka, link-up play, and then he thinks that he can do a flick when Declan Rice is pressing him, and then he just puts his hand there, he just stands there, and then when we concede the penalty, all the players, I think it was against Liverpool as well, is when we concede a goal, we lose our way of thinking of how to play football. We start going long, I don't know what is with the mentality of these players. We have to figure it out. Arteta needs to find out a solution of.
Dords, let me ask you a question then. You've said that you've become complacent, you're not handling the pressure. Who does that come down to? Who is to blame? Because who's to blame for this going wrong, in your opinion?
I think there's a naivety of the players. I think they're very young players. You have to look at it. They're young players, and they've never been in a title challenge, mostly except for Jesus and Zinchenko. The rest of them haven't been in a title challenge. So I think it's to do with naivety. I think it's a learning curve. I think if you take out that naivety out of the players and the complacency, there isn't any team that's playing better football than us this season. So if we keep up the same way we're playing the first 80 minutes for the majority of the game, who's better than us? Like, seriously, who's actually
that
better
doesn't happen for a reason, though. Your team, like you said, the arrogance. They've got far too arrogant going on this season, playing good. And then everyone told you all year, they said, no. The title race don't start until the last 10 games. It don't start till March. You guys ran ahead of yourselves, started celebrating in December, as you have been with Wenger. You've done it for the last 15, 20 years. Used to be first in December. By Christmas, every single year, Arsenal was top at Christmas. And then you would fall away. It's the mentality of the players. Yet again, they're too young. They bottle it, and they're just not ready for it. They done it last season. They're going to do it again this season. You've done it in all the bigger games in the back end of this season. When you had Man City, you lost. You've done it at, as Terry pointed out, Liverpool. You've done it against Everton when you had that little 3-game streak where where you dropped points. And again, you've got City coming up. You've got Newcastle away coming up. You can't tell me that you're confident going into those games and you're going to walk away with points when you're going against teams that are battling for something, teams that really want something, and teams that aren't as arrogant as you. They know what they want and they're going to go and get it. Your players, you got to be joking around. Where is the Arsenal fans calling out Saka? Because all year I've heard world-class, elite mentality. This guy's going to take us to the promised land. And what does he do? Yeah. Just like he did for his country, bottle it. Bottle it in the moment. Had the penalty, he could have put it away, and he did not have the balls to step up for it. He couldn't.
I want to add to what you said, George, about something. Do we think really that the players fed off the media and the fans' hype about winning the league early? Because I think in this day and age, players and everybody around the club, they actually know what is going on around social media. They know what's going on around in the media, in the news, and in YouTube and stuff. And I think Arsenal fans have been overconfident over the past 3-4 months that we already won the league. We won that.
No,
It's
no, not
ours.
already
It's
won the
done.
league. No. Being overconfident,
let me
we're the
just.
best team. We're the best team in the league. That's
A lot of
not winning the
Arsenal
league.
fans told me that we won the league. This is our league. This is our league. And I think you put more pressure on the player than what it should be. To be honest, any player can miss a penalty. Roberto Baggio missed a penalty in the final of the World Cup, but it's under pressure. I think Arsenal fans were overconfident. I think the club overall fed off this energy. They kept feeding them that you won the league, and it showed. Thomas Partey trying to flick that guy in front of your 18 is a sign of overconfidence. And I think this is what's happening with the club. I think what's happening with Arteta, with the players, they're overconfident. And it's your fault.
No, but
George, do you feel like you've been too overconfident, that you personally too overconfident, too cocky? Do you feel like you've done that?
I've been very confident because I'm watching my team and we're outplaying every single team. We don't go into any games and where this like we're so superior to the opponent, except for that City game. Even Grealish, even that City game that we lost 3-1. If Grealish came after the game and even said that like Arsenal were the better team. I can't remember a game that we went into.
Playing
that we
good
the better
football
team.
don't win you trophies or don't win you games.
I know, but you can see the
better
progression.
team on the pitch. It's
I
about
know,
who
but
wins the game.
It's not about. I know, but that playing bad and winning games, it catches up to you. Okay, that happened. That's happened to Tottenham Hotspur. Conte he wasn't playing amazing football. You're still winning games, and now it's caught up to you now. Now you're still not playing good football. You're not winning games anymore. That happened to Man United under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Every single game they were 2-0 down by half time. Second half they'll start winning games.
You're talking about bad teams. If you talk about teams with top mentality, Daoud, if you talk about Man City, you see Man City play bad some games, they still get the win. That's top mentality. It doesn't matter about how good you play because good teams aren't going to play good every single game. You can't go into every game.
But this is
we're going to dominate this. It's not sustainable to dominate every single game.
You always play great. Dawood, you always play great. Arsenal football has always been a great football on the eye. You've been that entertaining team.
One week, another week will look average. Now every single week we're the best team. Okay, that's a massive difference. And you have to look at it. You have to look at it. Winning the first league title for most teams is not going to be easy. We're not going to win it by end of April. The first league title, it was always going to be hard. It was all going to have hiccups.
But that isn't what you said, though, is it?
No. I know. For me personally, but I'm talking about the players. They said that
with 10 games left, title is finished, boys. It's finally done.
That's what you said. So I'm just saying, like, be intellectually.
Has he got you in 4K? Has he got you in 4K?
Oh my God! It's not even other Arsenal fans. It's you, Dawood. It's not other Arsenal fans. You did this.
No. Okay. I might have been a bit confident.
I'll put my hands up. I'm not changing my mind yet. I'm still saying you can win this, right? City are getting closer and closer each week that goes along. For me, it was the one thing that I feel like Arsenal fans have got wrong in the last month. And I said it on videos, and I've had goons DM me. I've loved you all year, but I've got to stop watching you now because you there's no need to criticize this. And I've responded to them saying, firstly, the fact that one bit of criticism makes you stop watching. I'm kind of glad you're leaving the terrace. I don't like that weakness around me. It kind of freaks me out. But it's a case of you have to criticize. And I think what has happened to your fan base, I've seen Jess get a lot of abuse when she's gone happy with the win. This was great, but I really wish that Joe Bloggs had done a bit better here. I really wish we'd have made this substitution. Why be negative for? Why be negative? Players need that pressure still to keep them honest. I do think that when you start celebrating too early and you allow all the mistakes to go by willy-nilly, no real pressure, I do believe it gets into dressing rooms. Mo is bang on. In this era, we no disrespect to Mo, we know that this happened because most clubs now adopt a policy with multiple sports psychologists, and they give the reasons as to why, because the players hear and see what's said about them online, whether it improves them or it damages them. And whenever a fan base gets overconfident and stops challenging their team, complacency sets in. Whenever you abuse, by the way, you can also abuse too much. And I think what was going on at Arsenal under Wenger got to a point where they were getting so much crap that I think they did lose an element of confidence because what they were getting online was crazy. I think some of the Man United players have gone through that. You have to get the balance right. But this notion of just, let's just, any mistake they make, let's not call them out because other gooners might not like it online. I think that's mad. You've got to keep your players honest always.
Can I come at it from a different point of view? And from as a football fan, forget being a Spurs fan. For me, look, first and foremost, the league's not done yet. Okay. I do think Man City are going to win the league. I think I've been really vocal that I've said Man City are going to win the league. I think Terry is threatening to have a wager with me about this, but I'm still waiting for him to.
Mate, that was before yesterday's game, to be fair.
Exactly. Right. But on a serious note, look, I look at it like this. All right. I look at it. I said all season, I think that Man City will win the league, and it's not. I don't subscribe to this bottling notion. I subscribe to the notion of who has the better players, who has the experience, who has the better manager, yeah, and who knows how to get over the line. And when I look at all four of those elements, Arsenal shouldn't be anywhere near winning this league. Arsenal shouldn't. So for me, I think the problem is, rather than Arsenal, I think, look, if Arsenal fans have been a little bit more humble throughout this rise, I think if they had lost the league, people would have said, you know what a great season, you've done really well, no one expected it from you, it's been brilliant. But the problem is they've belittled everyone on their route to that journey, and therefore now everyone's saying they've bottled it, when realistically Man City are superior in every way to Arsenal. And the last two things I would say are this. First of all, everyone all season, they keep doubting Man City that, this year they won't go on a run. Yes, they will. They do it every year. They have a little patch where they lose a few games and everyone goes, not the same City. And then City go, should we go on our run? Do we fancy winning 15 in a row? Yeah, let's do it now. And somebody's just sent me a picture of a graphic of Pep Guardiola and his last 14 seasons as a manager. Yeah, he's won 11 of those 14 titles. And this is the thing. That guy going to get you over the line because he'll keep everyone calm. He knows how to rotate. He knows who's going to play in which games in the big moments. So this isn't, I'm not knocking Arsenal, by the way, Dad. I'm not knocking. I think Arsenal, for me, I think it's embarrassing how far ahead of us they are. I think they've done a wonderful job. And I think that this is a Spurs fan saying this, remember. The most important thing for Arsenal is that you guys, to be good, you need to kick on. It's about what you do in the summer to kick on, whether you win or come second in the league. Who do you buy? What type of players? And do you go again next year? Or was this a flash in the pan?
I'll speak as well, though, just real quick about someone who was in your club situation pretty much a couple of years ago in 18-19. We were leading the league for a fair while, from pretty much third game of the season all the way up till about March when they jumped us, and then they strung together 18 wins in a row. 18 wins in a row to win that title. The next year they had injury problems, wrote it off. Next year we had injury problems, but they still went on a 15-game winning run. The year after that, last season, they went on a 14-game winning run, a 17-game unbeaten run. This is what Manchester City do. And it's a different pressure when you're being the chaser rather than the one who's being chased. And I didn't believe that you could win this title because you were the one in front, because you were the one who had all the pressure in the nicest possible way, because the team in first have the pressure. Whether people want to say it otherwise, the team that are top of the league have the pressure because they're top of the league for a reason. And Manchester City, all they had to do was keep winning. It didn't really matter because if they lost, they were out of it anyway. Whereas you were going into games going, if we don't win, we're in trouble. If we don't win, they close the gap. If we don't win, they close the gap. And it's a different mentality. And this Man City team has been there, done it, and got 4 medals to show for it. This Man City team can put aside, worries and doubts about their future and, I'm a bit upset about this. They can put that aside for 10 games and just go on and win the league. This Arsenal team doesn't have that yet. Might they get it eventually? Yes. I'm sure this will only be a benefit to you if you miss out on this title. It'll build character. It should give your players experience in that position. But there is also a small worry that if it happens in a bit of a demoralising way, i.e. they pip you to it late on, your players sit there and go, oh, what do we do now? Oh, we're feeling sorry for ourselves. Oh, this, oh, that. That's where I will then look to your manager and go, that's what you've got to deal with now.
Do you know what, Tom? I want to say two things on this. Firstly, that's again where constructive criticism is going to be key. Tough love is going to be key. And I'm not just calling Arsenal fans out on this. I think this is across the challenge to get in the top 6, all the teams that are vying for it. You've got to be harsh on your team, but in a caring way. I know this is lost. I often turn around to people online and say, I can't stand when we abuse players. And people go, I'm just criticizing them. Anyone who confuses criticism and abuse and doesn't know the line, especially grown-ups, just get those people out of your life. They're really dangerous people if they don't understand the difference. But Arsenal fans this week need to be very harsh, very critical, and very demanding of their players. They need to get up them because they've still got, this is the thing, you haven't bottled the league yet. You've said, that you bottled the game. A lot of people saying you bottled the league. Sava said he doesn't think you'll bottle it at any stage in terms of he doesn't think because City are better than you, it can't be bottling. But let's just point it out there. You haven't lost it yet. But you'll lose it now if everybody starts wrapping your players in cotton wool, wrapping the manager in cotton wool, protecting them from any criticism, because what that will create is complacency and more of it. It'll be like Tottenham. We don't get in trouble when we don't win. What does that do? That creates more failure. What you need to let these players know is what happened is completely unacceptable, and we will criticize you strongly if it happens again. Go out in the next game, respond, and we'll cheer and clap you again. Because if you win your next game, you still go to the game at the Etihad 7 points clear, not 9 like it should have been, and it should have been 11 really, because you should have beaten Liverpool as well. But it's still 7 points, and that still puts pressure upon City to have to win that game. They then
you can see.
Let me just finish these points. They have to then win those games. So you haven't bottled anything yet. You bottled games, you haven't bottled the league. But your fan base has to become more hardened on criticizing your players. Criticism is part of your job as a fan, but it isn't abuse. It shouldn't be seen. An Arsenal fan that criticizes in the right way shouldn't be berated or abused by his own fan base for wanting your team to be better. Deep that. Imagine having to go at an Arsenal fan who wants you to do better and just saying it will be okay, Saka. It will be okay, Arteta. That isn't what creates the diamonds, because your manager doesn't go back into that dressing room and go, Saka, it's okay. He would have been right up Saka's ass. It would have been for a moment. And for me, that's the bit here that's key. And if you do that, you criticize, you'll also bounce back next year. If you start wrapping your team in cotton wool, it's okay. It's okay. Well, I always remember listening to a Spurs fan. We did a preview outside their ground. And he said, I really want to win the Champions League just before they play Liverpool. But he went, but even if we lose, I'm so proud of these boys. And I turned around and looked at Neeks. And I went, Spurs are losing the final, no matter what. So why? I said, because that's the 5th or 6th fan outside the ground that's like, I don't care if we win or lose. And that mentality seeps into a dressing room. It always has, and it always will. Man City were up on stage after winning a league title. And I want to say it was Bernardo Silva. It might have been Gundogan, who said, we want the fans to put pressure on us to win the Champions League, because when we don't, they just let us off the hook. We want that pressure. Footballers say this. Why are fans ignoring what they want? They want you to criticize and pressure them. So this week, don't send them nasty, abusive messages, but beyond them, because they watch people's videos. They watch AFT. We know they watch AFTV. Bellerin called it out all those years ago. Yeah. They're sitting there and saying, it's okay, boys. We love you anyway. Bullshit. Get up them. But you don't have to abuse them when you're doing it.